It's Tuesday, November 11th. In the headlines, United States pledges additional $10 million for Jamaica's recovery following Hurricane Melissa. In business news, government pledges hurricane relief efforts to small businesses. Regionally, Trinidad and Tobago set to help Jamaica's electricity restoration after Hurricane Melissa. And in sports, Cricket West Indies confirms a T20 international series against Afghanistan in the United Arab Emirates. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Jamaica is receiving more international support as it continues to recover from Hurricane Melissa. The United States has pledged an additional $10 million, bringing its total assistance to $22 million. The announcement was made during a meeting at the Office of the Prime Minister, where officials discussed ongoing recovery efforts, hurricane damage assessments, and plans for rebuilding critical infrastructure. The new pledge comes as Jamaica continues to deal with the aftermath of Category 5 Hurricane Melissa, which left widespread destruction across the island. On Monday, U.S. Undersecretary for Foreign Assistance, Humanitarian Affairs and Religious Freedom, Jeremy Lewin, met with Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness to reaffirm the United States' support for the country's recovery.
So with that in mind, I'm announcing an additional $10 million in critical life-saving assistance to the people of Jamaica. That brings our total to $22 million to date. The financial commitments are only one side of it. That doesn't include all the military personnel, all the search and rescue.
Undersecretary Lewin highlighted that financial support is only one aspect of the U.S. commitment, which also includes military and humanitarian assistance.
We have, 1 million Jamaican Americans. I learned that 2.5 million Americans, we think, come here every year. So it's just tremendously close ties. And that is, we take it very, very, very seriously that we look after our neighbors and our allies.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness expressed gratitude to the United States, highlighting that it was one of the first international partners to step in and assist Jamaica in the immediate aftermath of Hurricane Melissa.
And that support was particularly invaluable, particularly in the logistics operations, which your helicopters would have augmented.
He shares that rebuilding will require sustained international aid as Jamaica enters the post-hurricane reconstruction phase.
Jamaica's recovery will inevitably have to include support from our partners. And so it is reassuring to know that the United States, our closest partner in this region, is supportive and willing to provide us with as much help as we need.
Prime Minister Holness also says Jamaica will strengthen U.S. partnerships in infrastructure, technology, and commerce to support a resilient recovery. 2 weeks after Hurricane Melissa tore across the island, Tax Administration Jamaica says it's steadily bringing its services back online. TAJ has now reopened the Maypen, St. Anne's Bay, and Santa Cruz tax offices following cleanup work, minor repairs, and the return of power and connectivity. As of Monday, 18 of TAJ's 36 tax offices are back in operation. These include major locations such as Kingston and St. Andrew Revenue Service Centers, Spanish Town, Port Moore, Crossroads, Port Maria, Port Antonio, Mandeville, and several satellite offices across the island. TAJ's business offices are also up and running again, including the Customer Care Center at 888 Tax Help. The agency says more locations will reopen as utilities are restored, though some branches in the hardest hit areas may remain closed for a longer period. In the meantime, Jamaicans are being reminded that most tax services remain available online at jamaicatax.gov.jm, including filing and payments, property tax, traffic tickets, vehicle registration, and driver's license renewals. Now for our Living Healthy report. After a flood, natural disaster, or even during routine cleaning, disinfecting surfaces with bleach is an effective way to prevent the spread of disease. However, it's important to mix the correct ratio of chlorine disinfectant solutions. The effectiveness and safety of chlorine products depend on their concentration. Too weak, and it won't kill germs. Too strong, and it can be harmful to people, pets, and surfaces. Always follow recommended guidelines for dilution to ensure safe and effective cleaning.
Mixing the correct ratio of a chlorine disinfecting solution is important in the fight against the spread of diseases like COVID-19. Today we will demonstrate how to mix both a 0.05% chlorine-based sanitizing solution and a 0.1% chlorine-based disinfecting solution using ordinary unscented household bleach and water. We will need a new bottle of unscented household bleach with at least 5.25% chlorine concentration. Bleach can lose its strength over time, so please check the label for the expiration date. Bleach is a harmful chemical and should be used with gloves and goggles and mixed within a properly ventilated area and close to a sink for rinsing eyes and hands. To make a 0.05% chlorine solution in a 1 liter container, add a 10 milliliter cap of household bleach to 1 liter of water. For a 0.1% chlorine solution, add 2 caps or 20 milliliters of household bleach to 1 liter of water. Then mix in a 0.05% chlorine solution in a 1 gallon container. Add 4 caps or 40 milliliters of household bleach to the 1 gallon container of water. For a 0.1% chlorine solution, double the amount by adding 8 caps or 80 milliliters of household bleach to the gallon of water. To mix a 0.05% chlorine solution in a 5 gallon container, add 200 milliliters of household bleach to the 5 gallons of water in the container. For a 0.1% chlorine solution mixture in a 5 gallon container of water, double the amount of bleach by adding 400 milliliters of household bleach to the 5 gallon container of water. Mix the solution gently. It is a good idea to only mix enough chlorine disinfecting solution to be used the same day, since the chlorine solution loses its strength over a 24-hour period. And remember, when disinfecting, leave the chlorine solution on the surface to dry for 3 to 5 minutes to effectively kill viruses like COVID-19. We are PAHO, and we care.
Time now for the Business Report with Denise Williams.
Welcome to today's Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, here to bring you the stories shaping the financial world and guiding your journey to smarter business decisions. Let's dive into the top headlines. Companies listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange reported a mixed bag of financial results in this quarter. Radio Jamaica Limited unaudited financials for the 6 months ending September 30, 2025 reports 6 months net loss of $259.96 million. Fosrich Company Limited unaudited financials for the 9 months ended September 30, 2025 booked a 9-month net loss of $433.62 million. Lasco Distributors Limited unaudited financial results for the 6 months ending September 30, 2025 reports 6 months net profit of $579.68 million. Minister of State Delano Seavright says the government is moving decisively to address the needs of micro and small businesses severely impacted by Hurricane Melissa. He noted that Prime Minister Andrew Holness and Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Senator Aubin Hill, have already issued directives and convened meetings to craft immediate strategies that will help small enterprises resume operations. Minister Seavright emphasized that the government, in collaboration with private partners, aid agencies, and civil society, is working on several fronts simultaneously: restoring electricity, water and telecommunications, clearing blocked roads, supporting hospitals and health centers, and ensuring that relief supplies reach affected communities. The Small Business Association of Jamaica is calling for an urgent meeting with the Jamaica Bankers Association to discuss measures to support small businesses struggling in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa. Denise Williams, the association's second vice president, is urging members to document and photograph the damage to their properties and present the evidence to their banks when seeking assistance. She noted that many small business operators will see their credit ratings deteriorate as the hurricane's impact has affected their ability to service existing loans. Meanwhile, SBAJ President Garnet Reid has called for a 6-month freeze on debt service payments to financial institutions, a rollback of the recent ATM fee increases, a temporary reduction in import duties on agricultural produce, and a rebate from the Jamaica Public Service for MSMEs that suffered power outages during the storm. For the trading period ending November 10, 2025, these were the most actively traded stocks. Atlantic Hardware and Plumbing Company Limited with 4,921,835 units, representing 31.36% of market sales volume. Trans Jamaica Highway Limited with 1,626,574 units, representing 10.36% of market sales volume. Omni Industries Limited with 1,090,493 units, representing 6.95% of market sales volume. We now shift our focus to the Forex market rate set by the Bank of Jamaica. On November 10, 2025, the Bank of Jamaica reported US $74.48 million purchased and US $64.70 million sold by Forex traders. Forex traders earned $1.03 per dollar, selling the US at $159.88 and buying the US at $160.91. The Canadian dollar netted Forex traders $1.87 per transaction, with selling at $114.74 and buying at $112.87. The British pound yielded Forex traders $1.05 in profits, with selling at $209.09 and buying at $208.04. For the credit report tip of the day, your credit isn't just a number. It's the key to accessing funding, growing your business, and taking control of your financial future. When disaster strikes, your credit report is your roadmap to recovery. Life can throw sudden challenges, hurricanes, medical emergencies, or income loss. But your credit report isn't just a number. It's a tool to regain control fast. Here's how to use it strategically. Access your report, check for errors, list your debts, contact your creditors, access available credit, leverage aid, plan payments strategically, create a recovery timeline, monitor your credit, and seek professional guidance. Your credit report is more than just a snapshot. It's your recovery roadmap. Take control today and turn disaster into your comeback. And that wraps up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, reminding you that every financial decision is a step toward your future. Until next time, stay focused, stay informed, and keep striving for success. See you soon.
In regional news, Trinidad and Tobago is stepping in to help Jamaica rebuild after Hurricane Melissa, committing more than $2 million to restore electricity across the hardest hit areas. Public Utilities Minister Barry Patarath says a local engineering team has already been on the ground in Jamaica for the past 2 weeks, working side by side with officials there. More details from TTT News.
Public Utilities Minister Barry Patarath said an engineering team has been in Jamaica working with the Jamaican government for the last 2 weeks. This as he sent off a second contingent of TNTEC workers to Jamaica on Monday.
The data coming out of Jamaica tells us that there are specific areas, particularly in the Montego Bay area, where there are large swaths of the country that have not been able to restore their power supply. And therefore we send a 25-member team from TNTEC, selected from the various areas throughout the company, that would provide the level of support that is needed.
He said 55% of the island is still without power, and Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness requested CARICOM's assistance to address this particular challenge.
With an expenditure of $2.24 million, the employees of TNTEC will stay in Jamaica for at least 30 days in the first instance as they travel this morning, knowing that that is an injection of $2.24 million well spent.
The Public Utilities Minister noted that 12 containers packed with food supplies and other essentials were already sent to the island.
Several containers have already landed in Jamaica as about a week ago. And corporate Trinidad and Tobago, partnering with the government, have really ensured that they heeded that call that the Honorable Prime Minister has made to ensure that we get supplies into Jamaica.
Minister Patarath indicated another challenge in Jamaica at present is the lack of food on supermarket shelves across the country. Terry-Ann Brown-Campbell, TTT News.
Leaders from across Africa, the Caribbean, and the wider diaspora are in Barbados this week, pooling ideas and pushing for new pathways to growth. They've gathered for the GUBA Awards Trade and Investment Conference, which opened Monday at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Center. CBC News' Anesta Henry has the details in this following report.
The GUBA conference presents networking and other opportunities for Barbados' private sector and other parties from around the globe interested in fostering growth between Africa, the Caribbean, and the wider diaspora. It comes at a time when local authorities have been encouraging Barbadians to seek out markets other than the U.S. for goods and service, given recent tariff and other trade challenges. The GUBA conference seeks to foster just that. Under the theme Reclaiming Our Atlantic Destiny, Build, Connect, Renew, this series aims to deepen cultural and economic ties between Africa, Barbados, and its regional neighbors. The interactions taking place are intended to cultivate meaningful partnerships in trade, investment, and heritage. That's why Deputy Prime Minister Santia Bradshaw says Barbados fully supports what the goals of the conference are. She says Barbados continues to create a favorable business climate, adhering to international standards that ensure investors and partners can cooperate with confidence. She told the conference attendees transparency, agility, and forward-looking policy initiatives remain guiding principles for government.
Our network of double taxation agreements, Botswana, Mauritius, Seychelles, Rwanda, and Ghana, along with a bilateral investment treaty with Mauritius and a tax information exchange agreement with South Africa, ensures that Barbados is a welcoming and a strategic gateway for African investment into the Americas. Through collaboration with the Afri-Exim investment in infrastructure and strategic partnerships, Barbados is cultivating a thriving environment for business, culture, and innovation.
And Barbados is building the foundation for long-term prosperity that benefit both Africa and the Caribbean.
Barbados is actively engaging its young people, our future leaders, to help us build systems that allow ideas to flourish and to reimagine and construct equitable and prosperous futures. Whether it's in air and shipping links, to strategic cooperation in life sciences, pharmaceuticals, renewable energy, and education, Barbados continues to renew its commitment with Africa.
Contributing to the conversation, Minister of Energy and Business, Senator Lisa Cummins, says she sees the potential for the establishment of an energy infrastructure fund
that allows us to crowd in investment capital that the diaspora, that locals, that African investors can invest in, and those projects would come from south to south, connecting our Atlantic destiny here in the Caribbean and in the African continent.
Beyond its cultural significance, Barbados is also a dynamic hub for business, trade, and investment. Mindful of that, President and Chief Executive Officer of GUBA, Lady Denta Amateng, is extending gratitude to the government for hosting the conference.
Through the GUBA Awards Trade and Investment Conference and the GUBA Foundation, we transform dialogues into development and culture into capital. Our vision is very simple, yet powerful. We ensure that our descendants of Africa, no matter where they live, have a stake in the future of the continent.
The Sold Out Forum ends on Wednesday. Onesta Henry, CBC News.
In Brazil, thousands have converged for the COP30, the United Nations climate talks set deep in the Amazon. Guyana is taking a front row role this year, pushing global leaders to protect forests, biodiversity, and indigenous communities. The newsroom's Daniel Swain tells us more.
Here in Belém, Brazil, negotiators from nearly 200 countries have gathered for what's being called the COP of Truth, a defining moment for climate action in an age of crisis. President Lula da Silva opened COP30 with a call to return climate diplomacy to its roots, to the principles born in Rio '92, and to remind the world that the climate emergency is a crisis of inequality. The Brazilian presidency of COP30 has positioned this COP as a global mochiro, a collective effort by the Global South to act together in the absence of some major delegations. Meanwhile, UN Climate Chief Simon Steele urged delegates to turn promises into implementation, saying to participants, your job here is not to fight one another. Your job here is to fight this climate crisis together.
But friends, let me be clear. In this arena of COP30, your job here is not to fight one another. Your job here is to fight this climate crisis together.
Amid this renewed push, Guyana is standing out, championing forests, biodiversity, and indigenous leadership.
We must not fight for forests to be on any agenda. If we are serious about climate change, forests must find a permanent place on the agenda of climate change. I congratulate Brazil for advancing the Tropical Forest Forever facility, the TFFF.
Lead negotiator Pradeepa Bolanath and National Tushau's Council Chair Derek John represent a unified approach. Government and indigenous peoples at the same negotiation table. President Dr. Irfan Ali brought a clear three-point agenda. Make forests a permanent part of the global climate process, scale up adaptation finance for the most vulnerable, and integrate biodiversity as a core pillar of climate policy. Guyana's message echoes Brazil's, that protecting nature and empowering people are inseparable. Through its low-carbon development strategy and the new Global Biodiversity Alliance, Guyana is proving that developing countries can lead by linking finance, forests, and indigenous stewardship. Reporting from Belém, my name is Danielle Sweet for the news.
In sports, we're at the crease with cricket. Cricket West Indies has confirmed that the West Indies will face Afghanistan in a 3-match T20 international series in the United Arab Emirates in January 2026. The series will bowl off on January 19 at the Sharjah Cricket Stadium, with the remaining matches scheduled for January 21 and 22 at the same venue. According to CWI, the series will provide both teams with valuable match practice as they prepare for the ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2026, which is set to begin in February. And that's it for the news on PBCJ. Remember, you can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thank you so much for watching the People's Station.